Okay, technical glitches solved. We are back. We are on. We have All Leeds TV with us, and the lovely Oscar, thank him for his patience, is here. Welcome to Forest Fan TV. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are. Whatever time of day you're watching this, hope you are well, and welcome to the Showdown. As I've just got to get Oscar on. Oh, this has been an absolute fun day. Guys, hope you are well. Let me just bring Oscar in. I'll get Lee to do it before I break something. Okay, guys, it is Forest versus Leeds. It is gonna be one of those games. I just feel it. It's a big 6-pointer. It's gonna have a lot riding on it. I want to break a couple of computers while I'm at it. Oscar, thank you so much for joining, buddy. I'm sorry about the mess that was the start to it, and apologies to everyone.
It's fine. It's YouTube. Trying to go live on YouTube, honestly. I always get criticised for being late to the lives on YouTube, but it is so difficult, honestly. It is so difficult. It's an art in itself being able to live stream. Never mind uploading. People who can upload videos, that's fine, but live streaming is an absolute art, guys, honestly. Honestly, it's an art.
Absolutely. We've been having a smooth run. I just want to say thank you so much to Nottingham Now and Then for gifting a membership off the bat. Thank you, buddy. Hope you are well. How are you, Oscar? It's good to see you, mate.
Yeah, good, mate. Good as you can be when your team's won 2 of the last 16 league games. But yeah, mate, they are feeling good. We've had a decent January window, a bit of a break in Premier League games, boosted our confidence a little bit with some good cup performances. But this is the bread and butter now. I'm panicking going into this game, to be honest, because it feels massive already, and we're only just over halfway into the season.
Are you guys seeing this as a 6-pointer, or because you win this, you level with us, but you do have that game in hand, haven't you? So it is very tight. There's almost like the bottom half of the table are fighting amongst each other. And like you said, you had a good January window, but do you feel like if you lose this one, then you're looking more down than up?
Yeah, definitely. Because the next 2 after this are Man United home. Man United away, and then Man United at home in the space of 5 days. Then it's Everton away. It's some of a tricky games. I think Southampton's in that spell as well. So it is pretty big for us, this game. I'm very much on the fence, maybe leaning more towards where we actually go under Jesse Marsch side of the fence now, to be honest. Yeah. This feels like if we lost on Sunday, could potentially be very, very damaging for Jesse Marsch. Not just for the fans, potentially, in terms of his future as well at Leeds. I do genuinely think this could be that big a game.
Where are the fans with Jesse at the moment? I'll be straight with you. I've never really... I don't know how... Is there such a thing as being Yankist? I don't know. But sometimes I feel when I'm listening to his interviews after the match, and you're just looking at him thinking, you almost sound like you don't know what you're talking about, mate. He's put some good performances. Obviously, he did what he did at the end of last season as well. But is the fan base with him or against him, or is it quite polarized at the moment?
It's hard to explain, really. I think it's probably mostly against, to be honest. Not like by an overwhelming majority kind of thing, but I don't even know it's so much against him. I think most people are kind of in the middle, a little bit like myself, really, in the middle, and maybe leaning more towards we need results quick. Otherwise, this is going to be a real problem for us. There is definitely credit in the bank from last season. And listen, anyone that was going to replace Bielsa, it was the impossible job. It's like at Forest, I don't know who replaced Brian Clough at Forest, but I can imagine he had a similar situation. It's the impossible job. You're basically replacing someone who you can't do better than, in that kind of sense.
Well, I don't know as far as compare Bielsa to Clough, mate. I know we're on good terms, but that's a big job.
The banter started straight away.
Yeah, chat. Would you accept that Bielsa on par with Clough?
Well, that's similar kind of like how the fans thought of him in terms of idolised, aren't they? In terms of
absolutely.
I know obviously if you probably have to go more to the Don Revie era for Leeds and that lot, and but in terms of the modern era for Leeds, that is probably the fairest comparison I can think of.
Did you guys see Bielsa? Like I remember as a kid, the O'Leary days when you were in the Champions League and stuff. back then.
Can I just caveat, by the way, I'm not saying Marcelo Bielsa's had anywhere near as good a career as Brian Clough, by the way. I think he's one of the best British managers of all time. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying
that... It's good to wind the chat up. It's good to wind them up.
In terms of perception from the fan base, they were idolised in that kind of sense. I don't know if I made sense there, but I'm not saying Marcelo Bielsa's
I was just winding the shit up out of you as well, mate. It's fine. But Bielsa, he was held in such high regard. He's a manager that I've fully rated and respected. I mean, his knees are amazing. The amount of time he spends kneeling down on the dugout was, it was mesmerizing to watch, especially at his age. Were you guys, did the mood turn on him when he went last season, or was it still a case of you guys were prepared to stay firm with him towards the end of last season?
100% back at him. I think obviously it did drop off a lot from the season before. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, I think they were 100% back at him. To be honest, probably the fairest comparison is probably Steve Cooper, to be honest. That was probably staring me in the face. But obviously you guys had that trouble with Steve Cooper. Well, not Steve Cooper himself, but you had that dodgy start to the season. You stuck with Steve Cooper. I don't think the fan base ever turned on him. It's probably a very similar scenario, to be fair. But we kind of sacked Bielsa. We didn't really give him the chance to turn it around. Which, to be honest, has kind of proven to be... For me, it's proven to be the wrong decision. Nothing against Jesse Marsh, but the fan base were 100% behind Bielsa, I felt. I think certainly in the vast majority. I don't think anyone was kind of like vociferously saying, oh, he's a disgrace, he needs to go kind of thing. I think most people were kind of like willing to back him.
Yeah. The interesting thing I want to talk about is transfers, because Forest have been making their headlines with the transfers, 29, 30 players since before the start of the season into the January window. Leeds have made a good few signing themselves, haven't they? What's your total now for the season so far?
For the season so far, I've lost count, to be honest. I lost count because we have made a lot of signings. I think we spent, in terms of spend, I think it's about 145 million spent, albeit we did bring in 60 million for Rafinha and just over 40 million for Calvin Phillips, but we brought well over 10 players into the club, not just like academy players, first teamers into the club. And to be honest, I'm really excited. This is the best January window I've seen from a Leeds team in my lifetime, to be honest. And going back to the O'Leary years, we've not had a January window as productive as this. It's a cursed window for us. We're very, very poor in terms of the January market traditionally. But I think we've done pretty decent business so far because two of the signings have already made a good impact.
Yeah, how many have you bought in January now, is it?
So in January, we have brought in Max Verber, Jorginho Ruta, try and get myself back here, and Weston McKennie.
Yeah, so McKennie obviously is the high-profile signing name coming in from Juve, but the other chap's the striker, isn't he, from the German league, who comes with a bit...
Jorginho Ruta, French, not French international yet, but from Hoffenheim.
And you got high hopes for him, haven't you? I've seen the fan base is quite happy and excited about him. And is that what you've been lacking, do you feel? Because I look at the Leeds team, and as much as I want to take the piss, I do actually like the squad. There's certain players that really do scare me. I mean, how do you pronounce his name? Is it Nonto?
Willy Nonto, yeah. Wilfred Nonto.
He looks fantastic. You've got the centre back, who I really like, that you brought in the summer for peanuts, didn't you? You picked him up. The what's his name? With the W, but it's pronounced the V. Who's your centre back?
Max Verber.
Yes.
We signed him in January.
In January, was it?
Yeah.
He looks good.
Again, class player. It does look really good so far.
Yeah, and then you got Tyler Adams, who I rate quite highly as well in the middle. I feel you've got a decent structure to the team. Is it really the goals where you've been lacking? Because Rodrigo's now out injured, isn't he, for the game today? Just before I ask you that question, I just want to thank Will for the £5 donation. Shibadog saying good job while raising his thumb. It says thank you so much, buddy, for the £5. Really do appreciate it. But is it the goal side that you feel you've been lacking in, having that firepower? Because you've got quite a nice spine to the team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, to be honest, I don't think goals have been a problem. I think even Rodrigo's a weird player in the sense of how the fan base sort of talks about him. I mean, yeah, he is extremely streaky. There's no doubt about that. But this season, give him a chance. He's finished it. Every single chance he's had, he's pretty much taken. To be honest, he's been lethal in front of goal. But the other side of his game, in terms of hold-up play, pressing, aren't the strongest sides for his game, to be honest. And that does get a lot of criticism from the fan base. I think that in terms of Jesse Marsh's style of football, everything's built around pressing. Literally, I'm not even messing around here. Everything we do is built around pressing. We prefer not to have the ball and have it. I'm not saying I like this style of play, but that is exactly how we play. So
is it a high press then? Is it a high press?
Oh yeah. Literally, when we get the ball, the first thought is get it forward. If we lose the ball, we can press. That is literally how we play, and that's something the fan base isn't particularly keen on. But when Rodrigo, it's interesting. I'll say that much. But there's times where you watch it and think, "Oof, this is a tough."
Because we have the complete opposite problem. We do not press. And I'd give anything for a bit of pressing, because what we tend to do quite a lot, especially away from home where we've not been great, is we retreat to the halfway line, become compact in our own half, and release possession to the opposition until they get into our half, then obviously start the press there. So I'm looking at you with a bit of envy. I guess you're looking at us with a little bit of envy.
Clean sheets and nasty, horrible 1-0 wins. That's just what we need, really, to be honest. We do need a little bit of that as well. But I wouldn't say goals are a problem for us. Listen, I don't want Rodrigo injured. There's no question about that. I'd much rather have Rodrigo there than not there. But Bamford's on decent form. Russell looks like he can do the job. But we seem like we've got goals all over the pitch. Jack Harrison has become this wonderful number 10 for us all of a sudden. Luis Sinisterra, I mean, it's just every single time he plays, he does genuinely score or assist. He's phenomenal.
I do like him, but he's not had too much of a run in, has he, at the start of the season? Did he come with a bit of an injury?
Injury problem. Well, to be honest, last season, the irony of it is, I think he played 55 games last season, I think, for Feyenoord. He played 10 minutes for us, picked up an injury in pre-season. But I was panicking at that point. I was thinking, this is our Rafinha replacement, and he's got injured 10 minutes into pre-season. Little did I know Rodrigo would go on this massive goal-scoring run. Yeah. But when he's come back in, mate, the difference is absolutely huge. He goes on the left, he's a threat. He goes on the right, he's a threat. He can strike through the ball with both feet. And the problem for us is we haven't seen him and Willie Gnonto on the same pitch yet. Genuinely haven't seen them on the pitch at the same time yet. So that's
and are they both fit for Sunday?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe so.
Oh, great. Because there's rumours that I've heard a couple of rumours knocking over the last 24 hours about Bamford and his fitness. Is he fit or not at the moment?
Rodrigo's out, but apparently Bamford's okay. Whether Bamford starts the game or not, I'm not sure. I'd have thought he would, to be honest, but Bamford seems okay. But Bamford, you could never... What's happened yesterday is out of date with Bamford, because you can soon pick up an injury. I do love Paddy Bamford. I do love him, but he's one of them players where you're very happy when he's on the pitch, but you don't take it for granted.
Yeah. So okay, so you're saying attacking wise, you feel there's something there, yeah?
Yeah,
so,
our attack. If we're going to stay up this season, the attack will be what does it for me. It won't be because we keep loads of clean sheets.
So you think it's more Kevin Keegan style football? It's still similar to the way Bielsa played, wasn't it? Bielsa was all about the high press, and I've got to say, Leeds were entertaining to watch as a neutral. You were knocking them in. You were either winning 4-3 or losing 6-2 or whatever it would be. It was always an entertaining match, and I think as a neutral, quite enjoyed watching it. But I guess as a Leeds fan, that's got to be quite a roller coaster every game to go through.
Yeah, it's stressful. It's so stressful. But listen, I prefer I'd rather be a team that can score goals but struggles a bit defensively than a team that's great defensively but can't score goals. At the end of the day, it's better to win one game 4-3 than draw 2-0 and then lose the other one, if you know what I mean. It does feel, with Verba coming in, I am criticising us defensively, but we have looked better with him on the pitch. I think we conceded one goal when he has been on the pitch. Okay, he's not played that many games, but that is a massive improvement on what the situation was beforehand. But it's I think we've won one game this season, which kind of sums up the type of team we are. We've won one game this season where we've had more possession than the other team.
We're in the same boat, mate. We're in the same boat. So, if it makes you feel better, we're doing the exact same thing as well. It's absolutely crazy. I've got some questions coming in from the chat. Are you okay to take? Now, some of them will be, let's just say there's a lot of dirty Leeds comments going in the chat.
Mate, it's one of them. What's the song? Everywhere we go, every single one of these are due. This dirty Leeds. I am used to it, mate. I am used to it.
All right, let's get some of these questions.
Wouldn't have it any other way.
David says, I'm reading them like raw, so what comes in I don't know yet. How does it feel like watching a real football club for once instead of the same old dirty Leeds? I told you off the bat they were going to go in there.
I don't know. I don't know how to comment on that one. It's
That's fair enough.
You're bubbles in the league, so I can't say much.
Yeah. Let me ask you a proper question, David. Thank you for the question. Simon F asks in the chat, and guys, there's a Q&A section in the chat. Get your questions in there for Oscar. Simon F says, I was hoping we get Bamford off you in January. How much do you think he'll contribute to your survival this year? Do you think he will play a key role if Rodrigo was fit? Do you still think he's got, a part to play in it?
Yeah, definitely. I think last season, I think we got 4 starts, maybe 6 starts, I think, from Bamford last season. I mean, we looked a much better team with him in the team. We looked a much better team this season with him in the team. I think the game against Arsenal summed it all up for me. Arsenal, I genuinely still say, listen, it might sound like the biased Leeds fan in me, but I don't think Arsenal have had a tougher game this season than when they came to our place. We genuinely battered them. We genuinely, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I thought, oh my word, we're going to turn this around, but we just could not put the ball in the back of the net. But I think Arteta said afterwards it was like going to the dentist. I think after the game. I mean, and that was with Bamford at the top. Pressing from the front, Bamford holding the ball up, almost bullying the centre backs. To be honest, I think Gabriel and Saliba. I think they're superb centre backs. But that's summed up to me the difference Bamford makes to the team. In that sense. And you even see games this season, but last season I don't feel Leeds would have been in a relegation battle had Bamford been fit for even half the season, to be honest. I'm not saying it's going to be that big a difference maker this season, but if we're going to stay up, we need Bamford fully on it, especially if Rodrigo is out injured for what looks like 2.5 months.
Bobby wants to know how much you think Bamford's worth these days, mate.
It's hard to say. I mean, if Bamford wasn't injury prone, people need to remember Bamford's last fully fit season scored more than Ivan Toney in terms of his big breakthrough season, more assists than Ivan Toney. And I think out of all the English players in the Premier League that season, only Harry Kane got more goals and assists. I think in the whole season. So that sums up Bamford for me. In a newly promoted team, and he just delivered that. So when he was at those levels, you're talking pretty decent money. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, in the market where Anthony Gordon's gone for 45 million, I really don't know. But I think you've got to really factor in injuries. I think if you're being honest, you've got to factor in injuries, and I'm not sure. This might sound really harsh, but I'm not sure a team would pay a fee for Bamford because of the injury problems. As much as I think he's more than good enough at this level to start at this level, and I think he would improve pretty much anyone outside sort of the top 10, top 12 teams. Are you going to pay a fee for someone who just hasn't had a full run of games for almost 2 years now?
Yeah, I think you make a valid point. Obviously, we had him for a short spell at Forest, so we can't comment too much on him. But he's always been quite key, hasn't he? And it's that key question about the injuries that plague him that just seem to follow him around. So it will be important. Hopefully, he doesn't score on Sunday. I keep wanting to say tomorrow, but it's a Sunday. It's a Sunday game, not one today. We've got loads more questions coming in for you, mate. And then I've got a few of my own. I can't find the questions. There we go. Andrew's saying, I hope Forest and Leeds stay up, Oscar. Remember the League One? No, we don't want to talk about
I do remember them days. I do remember that. It was one of them League One. It was first season, good bit of fun. Second season, okay. Maybe let's not come back to Yeovil again. I don't really want to go back to Yeovil or Crewe. And then the third season, it was just like
to Forest fans, mate, please.
The third season, it was just like, let's just get this done, and we did. Luckily, I think you guys went up on the third season as well, didn't you? I think. It was just one hell of a get out of here, get out of here, kind of thing. Now at that point,
it was a hit and run, mate. I've got another cheeky question for you from James White. Even does the Ted Lasso comments annoy the Leeds fans? Do you get a lot of that stuff in there?
To be fair, when Jesse first took the job, I thought, oh, great, this is going to be every single week this comment's going to be made. But to be honest with you, it's not being that common. And if anything, the Ted Lasso comments have come more from Jesse Marsh, kind of like...
He has dropped them, hasn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of done it just to kind of like... It's kind of like one of them, like a bit of reverse psychology on the English media kind of thing.
Head-on kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah, if I say it first, it's not going to be as funny now when people say it afterwards. But there's been the odd one. I mean... There is the odd time where you're thinking, oh, that was quite Ted Lasso from Jesse, that. Kind of funny from time to time with some of the... listen, in terms of his interviews and that lot, I'm not really bothered what a manager says in an interview. I know some Leeds fans might have different views on that. I'm not really that fussed. I don't care if they're great personalities, if they don't give anything away. I'm only bothered about the performances, the way the team plays, and the results. Well, the results at the end of the day. It can be the most boring whoever in the press conferences, most antagonistic person in the press conferences. It just doesn't matter. But it doesn't help when you're already on a bad run and you're hearing things like, we're making great progress when you've won two games out of 16. That's not great. Yeah. I will say that.
I get exactly what you're saying. It's one of those ones. But you've talked about you got the two Manchester. Well, you got Manchester United twice coming back after this one. You come into the City Ground, which, to be honest, when you look at our previous, and we've had plenty of previous in the Championship, etc. It's always been a very good, entertaining game. There's always been plenty of goals. But I've got the previous meetings up on the screen. We played 101 times between us, and Forest have won 35. We've drawn 35, and Leeds have won 31. So we are just nicking ahead of you there, in there. And I think the last time when we were together, we drew 1-1, and then we tonked you 4-2. I think,
No, I think there was another one, actually. There was...
Was it a 2-0? It was a 2-0.
Yes, it was a 2-0.
Yeah. Old Sammy Amiobi. That was the game. That was the game where Samba pulled off one of the guys in the chat. Do you remember Samba's double save? He saves it on the line. And then
I remember that really well, mate.
That was the 2-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was. I think. I think we drew 1-1 as well earlier in the season. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but, and then there's one before that where it was 4-2. Where
we went down to 10. I do remember that one as well. I think we went down to 10, then went 2-1 up, and then I think you guys just took over then at that point.
Yeah, that was the one where we always tend to get a bit of a defensive error against you. I think that was the one where, I'm sure the chat will correct me if I'm wrong, Colback nicked it off your last defender. God only knows what he was doing that high up. And then he was one-on-one with the keeper, rounded him and put it in. It was similar to the second goal we scored against you in the 2-0.
Yeah, Jack Harrison's
messed up and we were 2-0. And it was Des Walker's kid that put that second one in. Tyler Walker.
It was Joe Lolly. Was it not Joe Lolly?
Joe Lolly was the one who ran away with the ball. Oh, my memory, chat, help me.
I probably turned away at that point,
ran with it and then just squared it across to Walker. I think memory's not as good as it was. I'm sure the guys in the chat will correct me if I'm wrong.
This might sound like I'm just saying that, but I genuinely think after that point, we just went on a hell of a run to go up that season, to be honest. I just remember coming out of the City Ground that day and thinking, oh, we've messed this up. We've completely and utterly fucked this one up. And then we just kind of just turned it around and never really looked back then. So it does have... I do remember walking out and just thinking, oh, we're never getting out of this league. And then we just kind of just pulled it round. I came out of nowhere because we played awful that day. Forest totally deserved that win.
Yeah, it was Walker, yeah. The memory cells are still working deep down in the dark set of my mind, yeah. I'm pretty sure Lolly was one... It was like a 2-on-0, basically.
Yeah.
And then Lolly squared it over. I'm sure... If I'm wrong, trust me, they'll tell me. But what's interesting to see, look, Forest and Leeds are quite similar in terms of... You speak to the neutral fan, they'll always say to you that they like seeing Leeds back in the Premier League. They like seeing Forest back in the Premier League. These are historic clubs that need to be there. So how do you see your progression so far? Because obviously you had that fun season when you first came up, and then obviously relegation battle last season. What's your goals and ambition this season? Is it just survival? Is it just get over the finish line? Would you guys be happy with that? Or do you want to see a bit of kicking on going forward?
I think Listen, I think first and foremost, the situation we're in at this moment in time, I think if you offer me survival, I'd probably take it. I would take it, to be honest with you, because I think the league looks pretty high quality this season. I think outside of Southampton, even Southampton have got a decent chance of staying up still. It's quite tight, but it is very tight, to be honest. One loss and you're straight back in it. 2 or 3 wins, you're back out of it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately we need to see some kind of progression. I think now, second bit of the season, stop conceding the same goal every single week, which we do. We defend like this, mate. We try and defend the pitch.
You're very narrow, aren't you? Yeah.
Oh, ridiculously narrow. So whoever plays out wide is going to have a lot of space to run into, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And we concede the same goal in those situations, and we attack in a similar way as well. But it works a bit better going forward. But we have to see some progression with this style now.
You don't want to see a bit more width in your team, because I think you've got great wide players if they were given the space to go out wide a bit. But he seems to prefer a bit of a narrower formation, doesn't he, Jesse Marsh? And yeah, you can argue you're scoring from it, etc. But do you want to see a bit of a wider play across the pitch, both in defence and in attack? I would ask.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely. I mean, I think it does play, as you say, quite rightly say. I think our best attacking players are in the wide areas. Willie Nonto, Sinistera, Somerville, and Jack. I think we've only really made Jack Harrison in number 10 because we want to get all the wingers on the pitch, basically. I think we kind of just thought, right, how are we going to do this? Let's make Jack Harrison in number 10, and he's actually played really well there. But I think in certain games you kind of think, ooh, that works quite well being so narrow, because all the attacking players are so close together. They're just playing pass, in on goal kind of thing. When it works, it looks really good, but the problem is it's hard to get it to work because you're playing at the highest level of football, the best league in the world. You're playing against top class players every single week, no matter where they are in the league. It's hard. It's not. The thing is with Jesse Marsh is you can't say he hasn't had success with his style of football. You know, at Salzburg, he's got them into the Champions League. They've gone toe to toe with Liverpool. They've won the Austrian Bundesliga by a landslide, but the quality Jesse Marsh's team had most weeks compared to the opposition, there's a massive difference. You know, they were like the Man City of the Austrian Bundesliga, so it's a lot easier to play that way when you're playing against lesser opposition. When you're playing against better teams and playing that way, you probably need all the space, you need width, you need to have that chance to kind of like get in behind teams. You have to just have different ways of scoring. I just feel we can be one-dimensional in times. So if we go 1 down on Sunday, it will probably stay 1-0, to be totally honest with you. Or you might get a second, because
I'd love us to get a second, mate. It's very rare. It's very rare. I'd take
I mean, the City ground, we've got such a, as you said before, we've got such a poor recent record there as well. And it's the fact it always seems to be such a big game when we play Hughes away from home as well. It seems to be. It doesn't seem to be one of them where, we've had a good result going into it, let's try and build a bit of momentum. It's more, we've got to build momentum now, we've got to get something here. And it's a tough one, this, mate. It's a tough one for us.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, I would like to see a bit more width, to be honest.
Sorry, in all the mayhem, I apologise for my manners. I forgot to mention at the beginning, Oscar is from All Leeds TV. The link to the YouTube channel is pinned in the title. Just go and click that and show him some love. I'm sure they wouldn't even mind a bit of abuse from us Forest fans. We love
it. We're used to it, mate.
Absolutely. So make sure you're subscribed to All Leeds TV. Apologies, it's just the chaos we had off stage was so much fun. So yeah, please go and give them a quick subscribe. And there's over 100 of you in here. Please make sure you hit the like button as well. But show him some love, because we're now both Premier League, exactly where we want to be, and let's see if both or one of us can survive. Quick question for you, mate. I like this question from Mark. He says, if you could have one of our players in your starting 11, who would you pick?
That's tough, mate. That is tough,
Why? Because you think they're all shit, or because there's too many you want to pick from?
No. I think there's a lot of players who I think could really help us out. I should have said for the banter, no, I don't want anyone. But yeah, it's a hard one, It's a really hard one, that.
Chat, while Oscar's thinking, I'm going to buy him some time, yeah? If you could have one of Leeds' players, who would you take? Mark, this is a really good question, Mark. Do you want me to stall a bit more?
I will... What are your left back because you got such a big squad? I'm trying to think. What are your left back options again? That's probably our biggest area.
We've got Renan Lodi, who's turning into one of our keyest players now. The guy from Atletico Madrid. He's on loan. We got an option to buy him in the summer if we want. We've got Harry Tuffalo, and we've got this really good left back coming from Bayern Munich that we're happy to loan out to you, called Omar Richards. He used to play for Reading. Yeah, we picked him up in the summer. He had a stress fracture in his leg that wasn't picked up by the medical, and we haven't seen him since. To the stage
that sounds like something we do, to be fair. That's it. What about your right back options?
Right back, we've got, we bought him a guy called Biancone. He was just about starting to get gameplay after about 4 or 5 games. He got 10 minutes against, I think it was Brighton, away at Brighton. And then he did his ACL in, so he's out for the season. So you can have him. But we have Serge Aurier, last man through the door in the summer transfer window, free. And I'll tell you what, mate, he has been a revelation. Like, my brother's a Spurs fan, and he was like, he's good, just watch out for the odd clumsy challenge, the odd red card, etc. But he's been on another level. You can't have him. Although, having said that, he's not had his greatest games in the last 2 matches. So we are a little worried that maybe he's turning back into the the Spurs one. You can have Nico Williams. I don't mind Nico Williams, but he's still a little young. We got him for Liverpool. He can play left and right back, though. He can play left and right back.
I think you're going to go for Brennan Johnson, actually.
Okay.
I think I think if I'm looking at someone who I think, a couple more seasons in the Premier League, I think he's going to be a top player. I think he's a top player already, to be honest. But I think a couple more seasons where you either establish, because obviously in your system it kind of just seems to be like a winger / second striker. Is that fair to say?
Oh, mate,
it doesn't seem to have like one particular position.
If only Cooper's got it in his head that he wants to play a false 9. I don't know. Maybe he's seen some of the tiki-taka from the great Spanish team in 2012 and he's gone for the false 9. We, as a fan base, really want a striker there.
You know what? I've just thought, the one that was staring at me in the face is Morgan Gibbs-White. I'll just go for Morgan Gibbs-White, I think.
No, I'm sorry. He's not available.
Can't have him.
He's not available. He is. He was my favourite player in the summer transfer window, and he's not disappointed. He's just, and he's growing in confidence and getting better and better. And
I'll tell you what's really surprised me though is the Lewis O'Brien signing. I mean, he's not being even included in the squad now. It's
pissed me off, mate.
That's weird though. I mean, we were linked to him as well, and I thought that could be a really good fit for us. But just doesn't seem to have worked. Is it his fault or is it?
He came in like a house on fire for the first month or two. And then there's a lot of rumours about a fallout behind the scenes with him, with some of the players and the manager. And he's kind of been shunned out a little. There's talks that there was an injury and an illness. But to me, it's clear he's fit now and he's been omitted from the squad. He was meant to go out to Blackburn on loan with an obligation to buy. That had some paperwork issue. They're now appealing that. But he's not been counted in the 25-man squad. So... I don't think that happened, but
there's always rumours like that. Whenever there's a player just gets randomly dropped, that is the first rumour that.
We saw it play out when we got tonked by Leicester 4-0. As they came off at half-time, him, Morgan Gibbs-White and Steve Cook were having a right old ruckus. And ever since that point, there's been all this kind of rumours flying about with it. But we never get told, mate. I don't think we ever will. We'll have to wait for the obituaries to come out, on it. But I really like him. I'm pissed off that he's not in the squad. But it's not an ability thing for me with him. It's been a behind the scenes kind of thing. But I wouldn't want you to have him because he would improve you. I do really like him. I think if you picked Morgan Gibbs-White, you're onto a winner there. Aurier, if you want a defender at right back, that would be my choice for you. But it's we're getting there. We're getting there. I don't know how I'm usually cocky and confident, especially at the City grounds. I feel like I don't know. If you ask me this in an hour, I may change my mind. But at the moment, I think we got enough to beat you. It's just, does he blood some of these new players that are coming in? Because we've got Navas come in, who I think's definitely going straight into the team because Hennessy's utter shite at the moment.
That was a weird signing though from the off, Wayne Hennessy.
Yeah, he was okay, and he came with good street cred and street rep, but then we've been watching him while Hendo's been injured, and obviously he's been cup-tied against Man U. He's got, like, flappy wrists. The second goal he conceded against Man U in the league was one of the worst goalkeeping things I'd ever seen. So we got Navas in. Clearly, the hierarchy have thought the same thing. And he actually played okay in the second leg in the cup at the week, did Hennessy. But I can't see Navas being flown in and not having a run in the team, especially with Hendo out. So I think Navas
3 times Champions League winner getting benched for Wayne Hennessy is...
Could you imagine?
4 times Champions League winner, I think.
Getting
benched for Wayne Hennessy is a story.
Could you imagine?
But honestly, from an outsider looking in, I look at Forest and think, under Steve Cooper, you will be fine. I genuinely do think it might not be the prettiest football to watch, but I think in terms of your home form, I think you're going to get enough 1-0, 2-1 tight wins where that bit of quality from Morgan Gibbs-White or Brennan Johnson will make a difference. You'll keep it tight at the back. Obviously, you've got Dean Henderson or Navas to produce the moments at the other end of the pitch. I just think you've got enough know-how there. Steve Cooper, I think... I really rate Steve Cooper, to be honest. I know he's had a few run-ins with the Leeds fan base when he was at Swansea. Nothing too major, just, a bit of... You know what it is, a bit of...
bit of heckling,
bit of banter in that lot. But no, in fairness, his career is just constantly on the up. So, that momentum for him since that Leicester game, things seem to have really gradually be turning around for you. And we kind of thought that was the same for us, but we've kind of just been as inconsistent as ever, really.
All right, mate. Well, let's ask the big question then. Who wins? Sunday, 4 o'clock. Are you smiling? Am I smiling? Are we both, points okay?
I genuinely think draw.
Don't put on the fence, mate. Come on. You genuinely thinking a draw?
Yeah, I think if one of the teams is more likely to win, I'll be totally honest with you, I think Forest are. I just think Forest at home, I think you have got that, you've had that more time to gel, the players as well. We're going to have to play Max Ferber and Cooper, 2 left footers at centre-back as well. I don't really like that. But I do think draw. I do think... I'll go 2-2. I think it'll be... If we score first, I think it'll turn into a really, really good game. I genuinely do think it'll be a basketball match where you'll have to come out as well. You've got the players to hurt us, I think, and we've got the players to cause problems at the other end of the pitch as well. But I think if one team is going to win it, probably more likely to be Forest, to be totally honest with you. But we're a weird team, mate. Honestly, we are such a weird team. When you don't expect anything from us, we do kind of seem to produce. But away from home, we've won 1 game all season away from home, and I can't sit on here now and say to you I'm confident.
Snap. 1 game, and it's Southampton.
But I can't sit on here and say confidently to you that we're going to turn up and play, like Real Madrid and that lot. I think it's going to be a really difficult game for us, but hoping that there'll be at least some kind of entertainment in there and we can get something from this game. We have to get something from this game, really. Otherwise, you're looking at easily 3 defeats in a row, because I can't see us getting anything against Man United in either game, to be honest with you.
Well, I don't know, because obviously my chat is a neutral chat. It's not like we're a Forest fan channel or anything, so I don't know how you feel about the poll we've got. We've had over 140 votes. Surprisingly, 87% think Forest will win, 7% think Leeds will win, and 6% are gone for the draw. We have no Forest fans here. It's very, very, objective.
Very objective.
People surrogate. Fantastic. I want to say a Forest win. Look, you're pretty safe at the City Ground to say either Forest will win 1-0 or 0-0, or it'll be 1-0. Those are the main 3 scorelines, apart from obviously when we beat Leicester 2-0. So I think it'll be 1-0. I think if you do score, it'll be interesting. I think with the high line you play, you need to be careful with that, because that's what cost Leicester against us. And leaving the space for the likes of Brennan to get in behind, and Scarpini, our little Brazilian wonder kid. Well, he's not a kid, he's 29 now, but he's come in. I think if you play too high up the pitch, we could punish you with the pace we've got on the wings. I still think it's going to be tight. I think it's going to be a decent midfield battle. I'm going to go 1-0. I'm seeing some big scores in the crowd. They're going Kevin Keegan style football here. Jay's saying 3-2. Will saying 3-0. He's gone for the Brazilians and Jono to score. So Scarpa, Danilo, and Johnson. There's a few interesting score here. Marks is saying, unfortunately, 1-1. Leeds score late because we are sitting back holding a 1-0. That could happen as well. That could happen. And Chris is saying if Leeds score first, they'll automatically go 2-0 up. Something we're very good at Forest, mate, is it's like Tesco's. It's bog off. If you buy one, you get one free. It happens plenty of times. We have been a bit better at it as of late because we shored up the defence. But there was the whole time when we played Bournemouth where we were 2-0 up and then gave them 3 goals in 5 minutes. Same with Fulham, etc. So it's interesting. I've got one final question for you, Oscar. I know we've kept you way longer because of the whole fiasco. Okay. It's from Omai. He says, what 3 teams do you think will go down? And guys in the chat, who's going down?
I'm going to start Southampton. I think they're probably the one I feel most confident about. I think Southampton will go. And then after that, it's quite difficult. It's difficult anyway. Yeah, I feel Southampton. Bournemouth, I think, as well.
Yeah, Bournemouth for me are hell set bent on it. I think they're not going to do it. I think they're gone. Bottom.
Yeah, I think maybe they went with Gary O'Neill too early. I do genuinely think. I hope that doesn't come back to bite me, but I do think maybe they went with Gary O'Neill a bit early. I'm surprised he stuck with Gary O'Neill after the way they lost against us. So Southampton, Bournemouth, I think have felt for a couple of weeks. The next one's a tough one because I think you got Leeds potentially in there. Everton, I think the fact they haven't made any signings, although Sean Dyche, very, very well proven manager at this level. Leicester again, I've got questions on. I've got questions on Bournemouth. Bournemouth,
yeah, that's what we call them, mate.
It's hard, mate. I'll go with Everton because I think the only reason I'll go with Everton is I think it's very reliant on Dominic Calvert-Lewin to make that style of football work for Sean Dyche. And if Calvert-Lewin picks up an injury, who else is going to play the target man in a 4-4-2, which presumably they're going to switch to? So I don't think they'll concede. I think they'll sort the goals conceded out at Everton under Dyche. But goals, I think, just as much at Burnley could be a problem if Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets an injury. So I will go for Everton, Bournemouth, Southampton in that order. Maybe Bournemouth, Southampton, possibly switch them two, but in that order, I reckon.
I'll settle for that, mate. I will settle for that. It's as long as it's not Forest. To be honest, I don't mind Leeds too much. I don't mind. It's always a fun match to look
Surely
forward.
It's got to be Leicester you want to see go. Surely.
We don't care about Leicester, mate. Honestly, Leicester care about... we just care about Derby, you know. And now we don't really care about Derby because they're shit. So, and not that they were good anyway. But yeah,
Leicester not your adopted rivals now that Derby are like nowhere near it.
Leicester are like that annoying cousin, you know, who just is in between the age gaps of all your other cousins, and they're trying to, you know, hook up with one or the other. We don't want them. The Birmingham lot don't want them. Even Coventry would probably be quite close, and they're not interested. So Leicester tried to make a rivalry out of Forest, but we're not interested. Some of the fan base will tell you that the older generation, they'll always say Leicester were our rivals before Derby, but I don't know. My generation is like, who cares? Who cares? Cool. Mate, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'm sorry about the mess up, and to apologise, everyone in here is going to go and subscribe to All Leeds TV to show how sorry I am. That's how much you guys, you know, will save me with this one. Thank you so much for being here, Oscar. I really do appreciate it. Guys in the channel, in the chat, the entertainment's not done for tonight. We've got Footy with Uti coming over on the link that Omai's just sent you. So make sure you jump across there for some more entertainment. But from us, Oscar, any last words from you before you go off? Anything that the guys should look out for? Will there be a post-Forest match review on your channel?
Yeah, I think we're going to collab after the game as well. Hopefully after Leeds got the second away win of the season. Let's wait and see on that one. Let's wait and see. I said that with loads of conviction and confidence, didn't I? But yeah, we will be doing a post-match. Obviously, I'll sort it out with you guys, but make sure you watch out for that. And why not hit that subscribe button as well? We are on the road to, we're trying to push towards 30k if we can. So please hit that subscribe button if you can. And we don't just talk about Leeds, we do try and talk about other Premier League clubs as well. We probably will be doing quite a lot on the relegation battle, unfortunately, in the next couple of weeks as well. So yeah, check us out, and of course we will be teaming up with Forest Fan TV as well for the post-match too.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Guys, jump across and have a watch with Utti. You all love footy with Utti, so go enjoy that stream. And thank you for watching, and come on you Reds.